Hello everybody, welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United transfer news with me, Mark Goldbridge, and the big news today is that Jadon Sancho is getting very close to leaving Manchester United. We'll get a live poll for the live viewers on that in a moment, but apparently it's not just PSG that are looking to bring Jadon Sancho in. Dortmund and Juventus still very much in the race, and even Sky are saying that there's an unnamed English club expressing an interest as well. Who could that be? But odds-on favourite at the moment is PSG, and I would say that, look, you know, honestly, I really do hope that there are other clubs looking at Jadon Sancho, because if there are, then it just expedites how quickly this deal can get done. It gives us more options, gives him more options, of course, and hopefully the right solution can be found. I think the issue that Dortmund and Juventus have got with Sancho has always been the ability to pay the wage and the fee, whereas with PSG, that apparently the deal they're looking at does involve a decent wage and a decent, well, I say a decent fee. We're not going to get 50% of what we paid, but it would mean Man United receiving somewhere between 30 and 40 million. Probably builds up on add-ons, if we're going to be honest. But then Sancho goes off with a wage that is agreeable. I mean, remember, he's on such good money. Let me just get this going as well. Should Sancho leave, yes or no? There we go. Also got a few updates on the tour in relation to who's injured, and a little bit about Fofana for you this afternoon on the 2 o'clock show. Obviously, Beth's preparing to go to the tour, so Goldbridge fills in on the 2 o'clock show, which is absolutely fine. Which means, actually, I want to do a bit of a Q&A in a bit, so think about your questions, because we don't really get to do that as much on a 2 o'clock show. So yeah, the latest news on Jadon Sancho is that he's odds on to join PSG. That is what everybody is expecting to happen. What we know is that PSG have been holding talks with Sancho, as we mentioned yesterday, for the last several days. Sancho is open to going to PSG. The belief is that obviously it will allow him to continue earning the wage that he's pretty much earning at Man United, but also he'll be playing in the Champions League, and he'll be playing in a club where he probably will be starting. If he stays at Manchester United, he keeps the same wage, but he works in the same environment, and he's probably quite rightly fourth or fifth winger, having to, you know, somehow find his way past Ahmad, Garnacho, and also Marcus Rashford. A fresh start at a club that wants him, I think, would be the preference of Sancho at this stage. Dortmund would welcome him back. They can't afford him. But the reports today are that Juventus and Dortmund are monitoring the situation and would offer a solution for Manchester United and Jadon Sancho, probably on a loan or a loan-to-buy deal. Certainly Juventus could look at that. But then this other story that there might be an English club looking at him is interesting. I mean, who that English club would be, I don't know. I mean, look, you know what? Answer me this: if let's say hypothetically the club that was interested in Jadon Sancho, and it's hard for me to see who that would be. You know, predominantly plays off the left, can play off the right. Let's imagine it's Aston Villa or Spurs. They're not going to be able to pay his wage anyway, so I can't see who this English club would be. Man City were interested. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No way will Man City be looking at Sancho. But look, whoever it is, I wouldn't really care if he went and played for Man City, Arsenal, Spurs, Chelsea. I wouldn't really care who it was, because reality is we're on our own path, and he needs to find his own path. And if that's at another Premier League club, fine. I don't think anybody really would care if he was to go and play for another English club. And I probably would, well, there's no reason not to wish him all the best, is there? But I think PSG does suit him well. And what I was told this morning around Sancho and the PSG side is that they're very warm on the idea, but the only fly in the ointment, i.e. the only potential barrier, would be if Napoli suddenly went, shit, they're going to go and buy Sancho, let's get real on Kvaratskhelia, because they were initially going for him, and whilst they're looking at Sancho at the moment, they could pivot back towards somebody else. I think that it's very, very interesting. I mean, look, I'm talking about Sky. I'm talking about everybody else. I mean, I've done a massive disservice here to the potential that he might stay at Manchester United. I mean, we're talking about him leaving. I mean, you've got to take that leap of faith that Man United want to get rid of him and that he still wants to go. I mean, from what we've heard over the last week, Man United, he's a good player. We need good players. He'll get his chance in pre-season. Jadon Sancho's going on the tour. So the plane fly tomorrow. If he's on that flight, he will get a bit of game time. So you can't rule out the fact that he stays at Manchester United. Hi, Mark. How much are we talking for Sancho, including wages, says Kieran G? I mean, I don't know. That's probably part of the problem. Well, not problem. That's probably part of the discussions that PSG have been having, because he is on 300 grand a week at Man United, and I don't know whether PSG would pay that. But Robert McCormack says Barcola's on a different planet to Sancho. Yeah, but there are also other options. He can play off the right. He can play off a 10. We are looking at Agate. We've been in constant conversations with PSG for about a month now, Robert. So you don't know. You don't know what might happen. I mean, Clinton says he's not on 300k, like you've got access to his bank account. I think with Man United wages, I think to say that Sancho's on 300k a week is a good starting point, because that's always been the rumour that he's around that. I wouldn't be saying he's on 200 grand a week. I mean, I think you can start pretending that if you want, but, you know, I think Man United wages are very complex anyway, and everybody will have faced some sort of reduction because of the Champions League failure. But, yeah, and maybe there's bonuses attached to that, but it's still a considerable amount of money that PSG would have to fork out. And I think that, you know, I would agree with the majority of you, 89% of you saying yes, that you would like to see Sancho leave. It's very high, isn't it? It's very, very high for that. And I think that that's because bridges have probably been burnt. They can be rebuilt, but it's whether Sancho, United, Ten Hag want to rebuild those bridges, or they just want to crack on with it. I think the easier solution is just to move on. And I think also the mentality of Ineos will be move on. They very nearly moved on from Ten Hag, so they've certainly moved on from Greenwood, and I think they probably would like to just move on from Sancho and move forward. But I think an interesting 24 hours, because Man United fly on the US tour tomorrow. There is no indication that any of these players that might be leaving, whether it's Jadon Sancho, Scott McTominay, Christian Eriksen, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Victor Lindelof, Harry Maguire, there is no indication that any of these players will not be getting on the plane. And in the past, whether it's Manchester United or other clubs, when a player is close to an exit, they sometimes don't get on the plane, Mr. T. So I think that, you know, I don't think anything's going to happen that quickly. And once they've got on the plane, it just means that, you know, negotiations are probably going to take a little bit longer than some would like, really, because we want to move quick. Jimmy says we should do an exchange with PSG, Sancho for Agate plus a little cash on Sancho. I don't like swap deals. I don't think swap deals really happen as much anymore. And the trouble, you know, the Sanchez for Mkhitaryan swap deal was so problematic. I mean, Sanchez could have signed for us a week before that, and Mkhitaryan's side held it up. So I think with Manchester United, we're better off just working exclusively on deals, definitely. This Simons thing. So Build are reporting that Manchester United. Let me just bring this in because I wanted to talk about this anyway. Build are reporting that Manchester United are ready to make a big offer for PSG's Xavi Simons. Reports in Germany suggest that an 84 million deal for the 21-year-old would be enough to lure him to Old Trafford, with United ready to make the investment, as Ten Hag is a big fan. I've seen this reported quite a lot today, and I would file it under bullshit. I mean, I know it's the summer transfer window and everything seems to be focused around Manchester United at the moment, but I would have to agree with Kieran G. Complete and utter bollocks. How is Xavi Simons going from PSG to Manchester United for £82 million when he's more likely to be going to Bayern or Leipzig on loan? I mean, it's laughable, really. It's absolutely laughable. And if I was Bild, I'd be ashamed to be associated with that, because actually Bild are quite a decent outlet in Germany. So I mean, I don't know who's written it, and I don't know what the source is, but it's absolute shite. I mean, as if he's not even worth £82 million for a start. I mean, he definitely isn't worth £82 million. So, one, he's not worth it. And two, Leipzig are trying to sign him. Like, Leipzig ain't trying to sign an £82 million player. So, get real. That's not happening. And all I would say about Simmons or Siemens or Simons or however you pronounce it, it won't go away. That story won't go away. It's been around now for a few weeks, but every time we start to think he might be coming to Man United in some way, shape or form, and predominantly I think a loan to buy option would be the one that United would try and do. Every time we try and sort of get close to that, anybody with any decent level of source says he wants to go to Germany, he's going to Germany. So I don't really even think we'll end up with Simons. I certainly don't think we'll be paying any money for him anywhere near that. Fact says, ideally I'd loan out Anthony, keep Sancho and keep the creativity. Jimmy wants us to exchange Sancho for Agate. Yeah, I think swap deals are rare deals now. And I did read something about swap deals a few months ago on how problematic they are for FFP purposes as well. So I don't see that. I don't see that at all. I think reality is we've got a good relationship with PSG and we need to work on something that benefits both teams. And to be honest with you, the sooner the better. I would like to see Sancho in a PSG shirt and Agate in a Manchester United shirt ASAP. Obviously, Agate wouldn't be on the tour anyway because he's still part of the Uruguay. He's not part of the Uruguay squad, but he's part of the Uruguay squad that went very deep. And yeah, that's where we are. Somebody just said, what about this significant offer for De Jong? I mean, from one stupid offer to even more stupidity, reports in Spain are stating that United are ready to offer significant money to try and land Frankie De Jong in this summer transfer window. United want to sign a midfielder before the end of the window, meaning it is not exactly a surprise to see them connected with De Jong. I mean, that's aggregated by the Manchester Evening News. Look, at some points, I would not be surprised if we have a thumbnail with Frankie De Jong on it, but that ain't going to get us doing a thumbnail on Frankie De Jong. We will, of course, get linked to Frankie De Jong, but you know, bottom line is, I don't believe anything to do with that at all. I think that Frankie De Jong is certainly a player that Erik ten Hag likes, and we've known about that for a very, very long time, but we're certainly not going to be buying Frankie De Jong at the moment unless something massively, massively happens. And as LeBeau says, I mean, Frankie De Jong's wages are absolutely terrifying. And they are. They'll keep you awake at night. I mean, I don't even know what they are, but I think they're around something like 350 grand a week. So there ain't no way we're going to do that. No way. Swap Mainu for Wirtz, Openda and Frimpong, says Ben. Yeah, no chance. Osvaldo says, I was looking forward to meeting you in South Carolina, Mark. Anyway, to get a signed copy of the book in the United States, says thanks. Best way to get a signed copy of the book in the United States is to get somebody who lives in the UK to buy it from WH Smith and then send it over to you. That's the best way of doing it. Ideally, I'd loan out Anthony, keep Sancho, creativity. I've done that from fact. Mark, Build is the German version of The Sun. They're decent for some of the football news, but they're actually shit otherwise. Greetings from India, says DK. Well, I don't live in Germany, but all I can say with Build is that they do sometimes come out with stuff that ends up being true, whereas The Sun very, very rarely does. Elon says, to be a Premier League player, you need testicular fortitude. Sancho going abroad, then he doesn't have a set of bollocks to play in the English football. Okay, Elon's going in. And update on Agate and De Ligt, says Aman, and Sancho should stay. We don't need Anthony, he's whack, says Crime Pays. Well, I want to get into some of your questions anyway. We've spoken about Sancho, very close to an exit. PSG still the favourites, but other clubs are looking around at that. Xavi Simon's story, I think, is complete bollocks. So £82 million bid, apparently, complete bollocks. I wouldn't say it's impossible that we get him, but we're not paying that sort of money, so I don't believe that. I will answer that question on Agate and Delit. Get your questions in. We're going to spend a few minutes going through some of your questions. But just on Fofana, we spoke about Fofana yesterday. Big congratulations as well to Ethan Ennis. You might have seen him playing in some of the pre-season games. He's signed a new contract at Old Trafford. His previous contract expired in 2025. I think this one takes him to beyond that. So big shout out to him. Saw glimpses of him. But we are in a position where there has been an update on Fofana. So Fofana was a player that we were looking at, we were being linked to yesterday. Apparently, AC Milan are very, very confident that they will still get this deal done. Italian reports say that they're confident of winning the race to sign Fofana and feel that they're close to wrapping up a deal and they could place, the deal could be finalised today with fresh talks taking place. So, I mean, we responded about Fofana yesterday, didn't we? And I did feel like it was agent-led, mentioning Manchester United. So I feel that maybe there was a bit of, bit of a kick up the backside to AC Milan to move forward on that deal a bit quicker. But I don't think Man United are going to sign Fofana. And we will get players, many players. I mean, we've said this a few times, haven't we? Every summer transfer window, we get linked to 100 players and we sign 2. So I think that we've done quite well this summer in relation to, there's not been a hell of a lot of players that we've been linked to that hasn't actually ended up going somewhere. And normally there's loads. So if Fofana's one of those, I think we can live with it. Ian Hobbs, I'm really excited for this season. Just has a different feel to it. Could be a special season. Still think we need to kick on a little bit though, Ian. Very happy with Xerxes and Yoro. It's only 2 players in. We've only really got 2 players out in Greenwood and Donny and Camboila, I suppose, as well. I want to see a little bit of a kick on now. My only problem traditionally is the US tour can slow things down. Traditionally, we don't do stuff on the tour. And if you're not going to do anything on the tour, that's 2 weeks gone. Because the rest of this week, all of next week and the start of the week after. So I don't want the tour to slow things down because then you come back first week of August, you've only got 3.5 weeks left till the end of the window. So hopefully over this next week and a half, we can still crack on and maybe get a couple of here we goes. That's the only thing I would say. And some of the players aren't going on the tour. So, yeah, hopefully that can happen. I feel we tried to buy Ronaldo back, says Ben. I think we've absolutely no chance. I'm really excited, says Ian Hobbs. We've done that. Let me just answer the question. I want to go through some of your questions as well. On Agate and Delit, not really any update to add, mate. Bayern and PSG want a price we don't want to pay. Negotiations ongoing. Both players want to come to Manchester United. So, yeah, how long's a piece of string? I mean, honestly, traditionally, I've used that a lot. Under the previous ownership of transfers, we would take 6 weeks from this point with Pogba, with Maguire, with Wan-Bissaka. So just because the player agrees to come to Manchester United doesn't mean that you're close to doing a deal with the club. It can take time. Hopefully it won't do. Patrick Lynch says, off topic, but watched last night's show. You shared lovely memories of your granddad. What do you think he would make of United stand? Love the show. Yeah, Patrick, look, I mean, I think there's songs been written about that sort of thing, isn't there? And, I think Mike and the Mechanics, I wish you could have seen me in my living years. And look, I always wanted to be a footballer. And I think one of the proudest things about being a footballer would have been, I know it would have made my granddad's day if that had happened. He wouldn't have had any concept of this type of world, but I think he would have been interested in it. But sadly, the United stand was nowhere near being born when he sadly passed away. So, you just take the torch and you pass it on, and that's what we're here for. Ships in the night, I suppose. But it wouldn't be existing if it wasn't for him. So, yeah. And that's why that book behind me is there, because that was his book, and he loved Duncan Edwards. So that's why that will always be, and always has been, from the very first show, if anyone used to watch it. Do you have any update on Mazrui, says Jimmy. Nothing further than what broke yesterday. I guess that might be the way that it stays actually for a little bit. But, I think with fullbacks, the update has always been from Fabrizio that they are considered to be players that will be dealt with, but don't have to be dealt with right now. So I know there's a lot of impatience around the fullbacks, but I think United have been quite comfortable that they can do those deals more in August because Shaw's fit, Dalot's fit, Wan-Bissaka's still at the club. So you can start the season okay. Of course, by the time we get to Fulham, which is 15th of August, I think we might have even sorted the fullbacks out by then anyway. Lila's the best transfer in the season. Congratulations to Sandeep. Yes, we need to get her back on, actually. Have we ever done a poll on who would you rather keep, McTominay or Casemiro? What was the result? Sven, I don't know whether we have, but we will do it. Sancho, should he leave? 88% say yes. Let's run this from Sven. Keep your questions coming in. I actually quite like doing this. I should do it more. Either or. Casemiro, McTominay. In fact, I'm just about to, after this, I'm going to record a video for That's Football, which is going to really piss people off. Man United win the transfer window. There's a lot of people on That's Football who don't support Man United. They'll go mad about it. But I have done this for the last 2 years. I did Spurs 2 years ago and Chelsea last year. So it could be a bit of a jinx for Man United. But I do think, I mean, we are winning the transfer window. We're not taking any prisoners. I mean, we're not only winning the transfer window, we're winning 6-0. Like, we are absolutely winning this transfer window. At the moment, we are winning this transfer window, aren't we? I don't know what prize you get for that. As I said, Chelsea have won it. Spurs have won it. They didn't win anything, but we are winning the transfer window. Soham says Aston Villa. I don't think Aston Villa are winning the transfer window because I don't think selling your best midfielder is a way to win the transfer window. I mean, if Douglas Luiz was still there, I agree some of their business has been good. But selling Douglas Luiz, I think, you lose a lot of points for that, I'm afraid. Who else have they bought, Villa? I'll have a look for that video, yeah. How weird is Diaby going to Saudi at 25 despite Champions League football, says Toad? Well, exactly, if that's happening as well. Definitely. Casemiro or McTominay is actually really close. I can't believe this. You can fucking clip me on this. McTominay or Casemiro is 50-50. That needs studying. What are you on? It's Tuesday afternoon at 2 o'clock. Who's been down the pub, you lot? Bloody hell. I know Casemiro's fallen off, but he ain't fell that far. He's fell out of a tree. All right, it's a large tree. But he ain't fell off a cliff. Bloody hell. Come on. McTominay or Casemiro? I tell you what, that ain't close for me. But look, democracy. Andre Gomez says that Richard Reyes' story reminds me that United's biggest weakness is our lack of buying power in the South American market. Yeah, but did you see about that, Andre? Apparently, Palmeiras have just whacked... they've basically said that they want the release clause. Tell you what's good about the Q&A. It brings news in that I wasn't thinking about bringing in. So, yeah, Richard Reyes, who we got linked to yesterday, clearly bollocks. Romano said that. Didn't say clearly bollocks. He just said we haven't made a bid. But... Man United were buying him for 18 million yesterday. Palmeiras are now saying they won't sell him for any less than the release clause, which is 70. So, yeah, definitely. Duncan says, Yoro quoted as saying Ferdinand played a big part in bringing him to United. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, look, Rio Ferdinand as a footballer for Manchester United is an absolute legend. As a person, I've never met him, but I don't have a lot of time for him because obviously he hangs around with somebody I really don't have a lot of time for. I think that says a lot about Rio. I also think Rio comes across as a bit, but I can't really judge him because I've never met him, so it'd be unfair. But Rio, to me, perception-wise, comes across as a bit of a, whatever. But I don't live my life with hate. I don't live my life with bitterness. It doesn't serve any purpose. So I think with regards to that, I don't know whether that's official capacity, whether he's done it off his own back. I mean, this is a guy who a year ago was walking around a train station telling us that Qatar were buying us in 24 hours. So he is a bit of a prat sometimes in relation to what he thinks he can do. But honestly, he did have some involvement in Ronaldo coming back. He did speak to Ronaldo, and he clearly had spoken to Yoro as well. Is he the factor that got the deal over the line? I think some people want to live in a fantasy world. I mean, are we just completely dismissing people like Barada, who did a hell of a lot of work on that deal, I think realistically, look, give Rio some credit. He rang him up and said, come to Manchester United. I think other people spoke to him as well. I think Angel Gomez spoke to him as well because they were both at Lille together. But, you know, we can live in the real world or we can live in the fantasy world. Lenny Yoro's not a Manchester United player just because of Rio Ferdinand. The work that Barada did on that hasn't even been spoken about enough. Like, if you speak to people in the industry, apparently Barada was fucking brilliant on that deal. So, and other people as well. So, collectively, I think that, you know, it's good that it works like that. And I don't think I dreamt it. I do remember something about when Sir Jim Radcliffe came in that they wanted to utilise ex-players in the project. I mean, you don't want them on the fucking board. You don't want them on the recruitment. But if you can get a Gary Neville or a Roy Keane or a Paul Scholes to have a chat with a player and it helps, why wouldn't you do that? Bayern Munich do it so well. Bayern Munich do it really well. I think Juventus have done it in the past. Real Madrid probably do it. I think it's not a bad idea if it helps. So good question, Duncan. Look, ask me anything. That's what we're about. Let them both go. We need cash for a midfielder. Easy, says Aaron. Yeah, I mean, for me, Casemiro, McTominay, I would move both on. Is there any update on Osman? Are we looking at him? I'm loving this Q&A. It's great. Osman was meant to be going to PSG, but PSG are struggling to work with Napoli. The reason PSG are in for Sancho is because of being unable to get Napoli to move on the price for Kvaratskhelia, and apparently Napoli won't work a deal on Osman either, so PSG could be facing a few problems there. It's interesting, we've had Fabrizio Romano on the show for years, and I remember, who remembers Kalidou Koulibaly, Pockets, Firmino and Mane? Yeah, what a rap that was. But that's how long ago Romano was on the show, because we were talking about Koulibaly to Manchester United. Where is Koulibaly? Is he Kalidou Koulibaly? Where is he? I don't know. Is he in Saudi? He was at Chelsea, wasn't he? But anyway, we were talking to Romano years ago about Kalidou Koulibaly, and Fabrizio always sticks with me. He said Napoli don't ever need to sell, and Napoli don't do cheap. The way they're run, they don't do that. So Osman's never going to be a topic for us. I think people are confused on whether it's keep or sell Casemiro or McTominay. Mate, I don't care whether they think it's keep or sell or who's the better player. McTominay loses both. I'm stunned it's nearly 50-50. Sean O'Rourke says, apologies off topic, got an exciting job offer for more dollars and growth, but I love my current company, not ready to leave. Advice, Bridge, big up United stand. Don't go for more money. And, well, so in a footballing term, you know, it's like signing for Man City when you're happy at Aston Villa. You'll get more money and growth at Man City, but you'll get more family feel and appreciation at Aston Villa. Maybe ask Jack Grealish. I personally think, you know, if money and growth are your goal, you should go. If you're happy where you are and, you know, happiness is more important, then stay where you are. It's as simple as that. You don't have to follow the money. Joey, thank you very much for your super chat. Kimmich to Man United is a done deal. Here we go, says Red Dragon Squad. Imagine if it was, and imagine if you broke it. You know, Kimmich just turned up at your door and went, I'm going to tell you that I've done that deal. They both need to go. Casemiro will only get worse, but McTominay will play for the badge despite not being good enough, says Daniel. Who are we signing for creativity? We should have signed Golair, says Bilal. I still think that creativity is going to be an issue for Manchester United that they might not be able to solve this summer, to be fair. Rude Bridge, says Abdul. Don't know whether I was rude. Jonathan, I can't see McToasty going, to be honest. Jem says, I can't see McToasty going anyway. As much as he's below par, he's still had better performances than Casemiro. Would be good to get some outgoings. Then I'll judge the new setup, says Wendy. Why did we go cold on Edison from Atalanta, Mark, says Naldo. We did speak about that yesterday, didn't we? And I think that, yeah, it has gone cold. I don't really understand why. Maybe, I mean, look, definitely Newcastle were looking at Edison. That would have been Dan Ashworth. So I don't know. Maybe it can go hot again, but at the moment it is very, very cold. You're right. We should go Yeah, I don't know who that is, so I can't talk about that. The grass is not always greener the other side, so stay with your current job, says Carl Simpson. And we should get Sal Sancho, Anthony, Maguire, Lindelof, Rashford, Casemiro, McTominay, make some funds and get Xavi in, says Andegarte, says Ivan. Yeah, who do you think will be United's top scorer next season, says Jack. Oh, I tell you what, this is a bloody good one. I think we do a poll on this. A little poll on this one, right? Very, very quick poll. Who will be United's top scorer this season? Rasmus, Rashford. I can't see it being Bruno or Xerxes. I think Rashford or Rasmus. I can't see it being Bruno or Xerxes. I might be wrong on that. Could be Xerxes, but I don't think it will. I think it'll be between those two. Terp says McTominay. Rashford's not going to change his game. If he has a bad season, he won't score many. If he has a good season, he's going to keep shooting. So it'll be Rashford, and Rasmus is the number 9, whereas Xerxes, we don't know anything about him yet. So I think it will be between those two. I think if Xerxes wins it, unbelievable. If Bruno wins it, unbelievable. But I think it will be between those two. How do you think Rasmus will go this season? Well, I think Rasmus will be top scorer. So there you go. I think he'll have a good season. I think there'll be a lot more creativity with a higher line. Yeah, I think that's the way we want to play. Let them both go. We need cash for a midfielder. Easy, says Aaron. Is there any update on Osman? We've done that one before. What kind of limited poll is this? You already know how people feel about Rashford, says United. What are you talking about? You can't be wrong for getting right. I mean, I've just put Rashford in as being top goal scorer. How is that a negative? I've literally done it as an either or on who I think will be the 2 candidates to be top goal scorer, and I'm getting called negative. Like, I genuinely think the two, I bet if you did the bookies, it would be Rashford or Rasmus. So I've gone with Rasmus. If I thought he was total shit, I wouldn't put him there, would I? I think it will be Rasmus, but if Rashford has a good season, he's capable of scoring a lot of goals, as we've seen before. Right, thanks everyone for tuning in. Lovely, lovely stuff. Great show. Really enjoyed it. I'm back at 8 o'clock, as always. Make sure you smash a like and subscribe. If you like the t-shirt, by the way, United Stand Shopify is the place to get it. I think it's tagged below, but remember we've got this beauty as well, which I might wear later. That is absolutely iconic. This one's available in a hoodie as well. We haven't got this one in a hoodie yet, but this one's available in a hoodie. Lovely stuff. Check them out. Right. Thanks everyone for watching. We're back a little bit later. Check out the video on That's Football, which I'm about to upload in about 10 minutes. That's going to cause problems. United winning the transfer window. I'll speak to you in a bit. Take care. Rasmus wins with 82%, by the way. And we're only 100 subscribers off 1.9 million. Please do subscribe. See you later. Not looking at the camera. Only me. Only me. Only me.